Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call the police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
We struggled as a strike.
The Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any deadline.
Let's get the discussions on the road, everyone. First, we're beginning with the state of economy as it stands right now. President Bola Tinubu has been in office for barely 6 months, but then he has been assessed on many fronts, including where he met the economy and how much of effort he has put in to get it going. Of course, he has talked about how that fiscal and monetary policies of this economy would need house cleaning. But how much have we done that cleaning so far? What results have we seen? We would be talking about all of those this morning in the program. We also want to see how some of the efforts that the president has made to attract foreign direct investment are also paying off one way or another. Of course, our second discussion this morning is to look at developments with regards to the elections in Kogi, Imo, and Bayelsa states, given that in barely 24 hours, things will be jumping off in these 3 states with regards to accreditation and the electoral process proper. My guest this morning is Chief Chibuna Uba-Wike, APC chieftain, businessman, and social commentator. He's also member supports groups and NGOs for TINUBU'S Grassroots Independent Campaign Council, ICC. He's former Imo State Chairman and now Principal Secretary, Oil and Solid Mineral Producing Area Landlords Association of Nigeria, ONPALAN. Is convener concerned Indigbo, Lagos, National Organizing Secretary, all registered APC support groups for TINUBU'S, National Organizing Secretary, Southeast Indigbo, APC Progressives Round Table. I mean, your resume is sort of intimidating, but then we want to leverage it to have this very incisive conversation this morning. Chief Uba-Wike, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Excellent. So let's begin with the economy. The president had shown his passion for the economy even long before election day. Of course, by the time he was being inaugurated, he gave very strong insights into what he would do with the economy going forward. Just give us your impression and assessment of the president's efforts so far.
Thank you very much. So far, the president has done so well. He's just barely 6 months in office. Where he made the economy is not where it is. He has made, taking steps to ensure that those things that has inhibited economic growth in Nigeria are out of the way so that we make economic progress. It has not been easy. It has not been palatable because rebuilding is painful. But so far so good. He has done well. And in a couple of months, we shall be seeing the results, positive results.
A lot of people who listen to you now will feel, well, we're not surprised. He's an APC chieftain. What else do we expect him to say? Before now, I mean, when we had former President Muhammadu Buhari in office, you heard things like the past administration, the previous government. But now we are not hearing that much. Could that be because it's one transition of government to another within the same APC?
Thank you very much. Yes, we transited. It is the same party, our party, handed over to our party, and our party has economic trust and policy. What President Asiwaju Bola Tinubu inherited from former President Buhari, he's improving on it. There are steps he has taken, things that should stimulate economic growth that we are not done previously. He has taken steps to right those wrongs. It will come with pains. It will come with pains because rebuilding comes with pains. But after the pain, there will be the joy. Better life for everybody.
When the president removed suspended payment of subsidy, people said, yes, that action was timely because it was even long overdue. But then they fault the approach. They say he did it in a hurry without, first of all, ensuring palliatives were put in place in such a way that we could, if you like, minimize the pains that come with this action?
There is a mistake. The opposition, I will not say Nigerians, it is the opposition that has taken these embers and then, this propaganda. It wasn't President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that removed the petroleum subsidy. The Petroleum Industry Act 2021 removed the petroleum subsidy. What Asiwaju made on ground is what he's building on. The petroleum subsidy has already been removed by the act. So if he does anything, sustaining the subsidy, he will be running foul of the law.
Again, that's contradictory, because if the PIA 2021 had removed subsidy, how come the Buhari government still made provision for subsidy till end of June 2023?
Thank you very much. You remember that the implementation of the PIA was delayed. The implementation of the PIA was delayed after it was signed into law. That was why the Buhari's led administration made budget provision for subsidy till June. I don't know whether you get me.
I'm following.
So immediately Asiwaju came in the budget of 2020, this year's budget, there was, as after June, there was no provision for the subsidy payments. And besides, there was no money to continue to sustain the subsidy payments. If he had allowed it to continue, where will he get the money to pay? We were borrowing money to pay for subsidy. And there is no economy in this world that thrives on subsidy for consumption, especially petroleum products. All over the world, it is not like that. And by our precarious economic situation and what we have experienced in the past, the subsidy is not benefiting me and you. It is only a few persons that we are benefiting from it. So, and he had to remove that subsidy so that that money that had been used to pay the subsidy will be plowed back in other productive sectors of the economy that will benefit the generality of Nigerians. That is what Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has done.
I've been speaking with people about this subsidy removal issue, whether they're politicians or just everyday Nigerian. They say, look, President Bola Tinubu has said severally that the subsidy payment itself is a criminal enterprise, which, of course, anybody who has followed the development within the industry would know that it's a criminal enterprise. But the question has become, what do you do with criminals? I'm sure you arrest them, you prosecute them within the ambit of the law. We have seen, for example, the president in June, middle of June, just about, barely 3 weeks after he took office, suspend the former CBN governor, Governor Emefiele. Got him, he was arrested, and then we see how it has developed over time. He just got released less than 48 hours ago. We've seen what he has done with the former chairman of the EFCC, for example. We've seen what he has done with some heads of some critical agencies. How come we are not hearing news about prosecutorial moves with regards to these persons who have midwifed this criminal enterprise?
Thank you very much. If you remember, immediately President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came into office, like you said. After a while, he removed the former CBN governor. What the former CBN governor did and how he ran the economy, there was already a report on it. That was why he had to remove him.
Which was made available to the president?
To the president. Now, on that, the case of the former EFCC chairman, there was also a report that was made available to the president. Then, what you now ask about those beneficiaries of the subsidy, those who have run us into this, economic quagmire using the subsidy regime.
Right.
He has set up an investigative team investigating the affairs of CBN and other government business entities. Do the identities of the beneficiaries of the subsidy and those who have, shortchanged the economy and Nigerians will come out. Let the investigators conclude their investigation, turn in their reports, and you see what Mr. President will do. He doesn't want to, arrest people at random. And he said, a man who believes in the rule of law, he observes the rule of law, he wants to follow due process. That is why he was waiting for the investigators to conclude their investigation, and those that are indicted in their report will be gone after. That's what Mr. President.
For a country like Nigeria that largely depends on oil, so if you like, leave, it's quite concerning, because now we have 4 refineries, none of which are working. The government under President Bola Tinubu has said, look, at least 1 refinery will be up and running by end of this year. Of course, this is not the first time Nigerians will be made such a promise. However, the argument has been unanimous that until we fix our refineries, we'll be skirting the issue, as if we are begging the issue, and so on and so forth. We're banking on Dangote refinery to start in July. This is middle of November already. That has not happened just yet. Are we serious about fixing refineries in this country?
I believe the government is serious about fixing the refineries. And the NNPCL has given assurances that the refinery, especially the Port Harcourt refinery, will come on stream, maybe by the end of the year or thereabout. Right. So we look forward to seeing it come on stream. That of Dangote refinery, Nigeria has not been meeting its production quota of crude oil. Right. If you remember years back in the previous, not immediate past administration, we were producing 2.4 million barrels. The previous administration, the immediate past administration came, the production quota dropped from 2.4 million to 2 million to even 1.4 million to even 800,000 barrels per day. Due to pipeline vandalization and other criminal activities going on in the producing areas. But those things now are being taken care of. The production quota has increased. So, and recently the NNPCL and other local producers have signed agreement with Dangote refinery to supply them crude. By this December, I believe they will have the crude supplies to start refining, products, PMS and other petroleum products that will be for local consumption and maybe for export.
Just recently, President Bola Tinubu appointed a special investigator to look at the books of the CBN and maybe other critical institutions of the government, especially those that are directly involved with running of the economy, whether it's fiscal policy, monetary policy framework, and so on and so forth. We have seen similar exercises in the past. What makes this one peculiar or different?
The personality of the president makes it peculiar and different. President Asiwaju Bola Tinubu is a different person. He's a very meticulous person. He's a financial guru, as you know, and going by his antecedents, how he ran Lagos. Remember, before he became Lagos State Governor, there were financial leakages, ghost workers and everything. But when he came in, he carried out an audit of the civil service. He was the first governor in Nigeria that introduced, used the technology to shut in and plug in the holes of financial leakages in the civil service. And we saw how Lagos prospered during his regime, and still prospered because he laid the foundation. He's a different person. He follows his things meticulously. He has laid the foundation. He has set up an investigative team, which is the basic thing he's supposed to do, the proper thing. And let the investigators finish their investigation. You will see what he will do with the report. It will not be like before. It won't be business as usual. Because he wants to fix Nigeria. That was why
I'm sure that's what Nigerians want to see.
Yeah, he wants to fix it.
But there have been concerns that, even projections by some multilateral institutions, some rating agencies, saying that, look, if Nigeria does not sit up to fix its economy, fix its local production capacity, and so on and so forth, by the end of this year, we could be hitting as much as 100 trillion in debts. Does that bother you?
The projections bother me, and it does not bother me as well. They are projections. There is work going on, to discredit those projections, to make sure that we do the right things in the right way and in the right place, and Mr. President has put measures in place to ensure that the right things are done for us to enjoy economic prosperity. That is why his regime is a renewed hope regime. He's renewing the hope of Nigerians politically, economically, socially, and otherwise. Let us give him little time and see what will come out. He has put measures in place, and he's still doing what he's not supposed to do to ensure that our economy bounces back and Nigeria enjoy prosperity.
Excellent. So I want to talk about the president and his foreign trips. Every time the president jets out, what we hear from those handling his media fronts is that the idea basically is for him to be able to attract foreign direct investment, which is what any country like Nigeria would need at this point in time. One of them, not very long ago, was how that we were told that Nigeria has been able to renew ties with the authorities of the United Arab Emirates, that even the visa ban that had been placed has now been lifted. In what practical ways are we seeing all of this play out in the interest of Nigerians now?
His foreign trips, like you said, are meant to attract foreign, direct investments, are meant to, cement Nigeria's ties with, other, nations, and the bilateral relations strengthened. We are going to see the results as time goes on. You remember when we say he travels and MOUs are signed, agreements as a businessmen are made, those that are desirous to come into Nigeria to invest, mix with our own businessmen, our ministers and things like that, they agreed. when MOUs are signed, it takes a little while for the implementation. You don't sign and start implementing because there are local, exigencies you need to take care of. I don't know whether you get me. To ensure that as they come and begin their operations here, it will benefit Nigeria the way it is supposed to benefit Nigeria. Let us just give a little time and see the whole thing begin to play out.
I think it's probably not fair, maybe not even logical enough to have this kind of conversation about the economy and not talk about the critical place of infrastructure. Most of our federal roads are not the kind that we can be proud of. And just now, the Minister of Works himself, I mean, being an engineer, and we saw what he did with Ebonyi State, for example, Dave Umahi, saying that we're going to need about 21 billion to fix a particular federal road infrastructure. That's minus other roads that we need to fix. In fact, what we need to fix all of these roads, fix infrastructure on a national scale, runs into tens of trillions. How do we begin to approach this issue in ways that are practical, in ways that we don't find government after government re-awarding one road again and again and again?
Yeah, the solution to the problem is for those appointed to positions of authority to discharge their responsibilities patriotically and creditably well, having the interests of Nigeria and Nigerians, not their own interest. You are there holding forth for Nigerians. You are to serve Nigerians, not yourself. When contracts are awarded, ensure that it is implemented to the letter. Let the conditions stated in the contract be followed. Let the quality of the roads or whatever project that the contract has been awarded, be what it's supposed to be. Let there be proper checks and balances. Let there be proper monitoring and evaluation so that we'll get value for our money. And that is what the Minister of Works is doing now.
Let's talk about the issue of cutting cost of governance, because again, this comes down to Naira and Kobo. We have heard people say things like how that the National Assembly should be run on part-time basis. Senators, House members should be on part-time basis. We heard about how that we should review the humongous appointments associated with the presidency and the vice presidency and so on and so forth. What are the practical ways a country like Nigeria can approach the issue of cutting cost of governance? Because they say democracy is expensive, but ours is just flamboyantly expensive.
I disagree with you that ours is flamboyantly expensive. Democracy all over the world is expensive.
Even with all the aides around governors and the president?
It is employment they created. Those appointees are paid salaries. I don't know what I get me.
But do they bring commensurate value?
Yes. They have work they are doing for the appointer. The person that appointed, they are doing something. People that are saying all these things are being selfish because they are not the ones in power. If they are elected in position, they will appoint aides like that. When you appoint aides, you create jobs for them. You take them off the street, give them jobs that they will be doing. Now people say, yes, we cut cost of governance, like I said. If we are patriotic enough, even you appoint 1,000 aides or thereabout, you pay them salaries, and they do their job as it's supposed to be, there wouldn't be problem. Where we have problem is in the psyche and mentality of Nigerians, some of them that hold public office, that see it is for me, not for Nigerians. When we see public office as positions of authority, we are holding it forth for Nigerians. We do the right thing. Not merely work that 10 persons will do. You overlabor 3 persons to do the job. You are not doing you are subjecting their health and all that to difficulty and then deterioration.
So it becomes a penny wise pound foolish.
Thank you very much. So let me use the present Minister of Works. When he was a governor, he had a lot of aides. They were all paid. They were doing jobs. Like some other governors and other elected and appointed officials have is they are paying them. They are creating jobs. And those clamoring for National Assembly to be on part-time basis, their comments and positions are self-serving because they are not the ones there. Let me give you an instance. The National Assembly is procuring vehicles for its operations for members. Look at how the opposition is vilifying them, castigating them, running them down and things like that. Remember, the National Assembly is made up of, it's a multi-party membership National Assembly. The Labour Party, PDP, NMPP, ADC, APC. Are their members not beneficiaries of those vehicles, operational vehicles that the National Assembly is providing? Is it not from the budget of the National Assembly that are procuring those vehicles?
But this is misplacement of priority. How
Can you buy an SUV of 160 million? They must be mobile.
But must they be mobile at that cost?
Excuse me. It is because of the economic situation of the world. It's a global economic problem we are facing now. It's a global phenomenon. All over the world, they're having one economic problem or the other that made the cost of vehicles to skyrocket. I don't know whether you get me. Because of the economic problem that have caused the skyrocket.
Isn't that enough reason for us to cut our quote according to our quote?
They did not buy 2 vehicles per person. It was 1 vehicle they procured.
Which we are told is 160 million for 1 vehicle.
Because of durability, they want the vehicle to serve out at least for 4 years.
We have local manufacturers of automobile.
Reduce the cost of maintenance of the vehicles. We have local assembly plants and 1 manufacturing plant. Yes, I would have loved our National Assemblyman to procure the vehicle from our local producers, but they know why they decided to procure the vehicle.
We don't have influence on that decision.
I cannot influence it. You cannot influence it. It is left for them. I would have preferred they procure the vehicle from our local manufacturers. But since they decided to go the other way, no problem. So long as those vehicles will be used in the service of Nigerians, in carrying out their responsibilities of lawmaking and oversight. Our people lose sight of this. They are not using it for luxury. After all, some of the members, or even not most of them, we are well-to-do. But they will not be using their personal vehicles for a national assignment.
Right.
It is not done. Let us be, patriotic enough. Let us be sincere in our criticism. Let our criticism be constructive and not destructive, because we are not the one there. If those people criticizing them are the ones there, will they reject the vehicle? Look at the membership of the National Assembly. It cut across all parties. Did their members reject it?
Let's talk about what happened a fortnight ago when the CBN announced that it had lifted forex ban on 43 items. How did you receive that news, looking at the impact you have on the economy and local manufacturers?
Yeah, I received the news well.
You think it's a step in the right direction?
Let there be competition, but to protect the local manufacturers, there will be conditions. Like there are some of the products, you put high import duty to protect the local manufacturer. That's how it is done globally. Nigeria, we have not grown to the level of shutting our borders. We will be doing ourselves more harm and the economy more harm. I want to cite an example with rice production. The previous administration did not ban rice importation. But the provision was that if you are bringing in rice, it must come through the ports. Then they increased the import duty and levy. 10% import duty, 50% levy. That is 60%. No sane importer will bring in a consignment of rice and pay 60% and be able to sell it in the market.
It's not realistic.
It's not realistic. And that provision and that government position is still there. So if you are a rice importer and you feel that you can bring in rice and pay 60% duty and you can be able to sell in Nigerian market, go ahead. But to me, it doesn't make economic sense. It doesn't make business sense. But what did our local producers, the middlemen, our local producers and the middlemen, what did they do? They exploited that magnanimity of government of allowing local producers to produce rice to punish Nigerians. The middlemen will go and buy the rice paddy at cheaper cost and inflate the prices before they sell to the millers. And what happened? The prices of locally produced rice skyrocketed. But if there is competition now, it will reduce the meddlesomeness of the middlemen. Because you have rice, I have rice, I want to sell, you want to sell. We will not want to keep it. We will sell at a price, competitive price that will be affordable for Nigerians. That, I believe, was the reason behind lifting, the ban placed on FX, not on the items, because previously now you have to source your FX from autonomous sources to be able to import.
Right.
But now you can access your FX from CBN. Besides, it is a right step in the right direction to reduce the speculative FX market that we have seen in autonomous market. If everybody is applying through the CBN will be able to monitor what is happening in the FX market.
But to appear, CBN gets overwhelmed most times with the requisitions for FX.
Because our receipts, our FX receipts has dwindled. Then the ban placed on those products now fueled high demand for FX, because some people will get at official rate and go to round trip to sell at autonomous rate.
Right.
So, and it has made the price of the FX to skyrocket. to the detriment of the economy. But now that everybody will apply to CBN, it makes it easier to control the FX rate. People will not speculate now to fix prices as the way they want. People will not be engaging in round tripping. That will be endangering the economy.
On the day that CBN governor, the current one, Dr. Olayemi Kadoso, was being screened by the Senate, I mean, of course, a lot of the senators did air their opinion about the state of the economy and expectations of the new CBN governor. Comrade Adams Oshomole, former state governor, those state governor, now a senator, did say, look, if President Bola Tinubu's government is to do well, one of the things he must be very careful about is how much it listens to multilateral institutions like the World Bank and the CBN. What's your assessment of that statement?
I will answer you by quoting a statement made by former President Obasanjo. When His Excellency Professor Chukwuma Soludo was the CBN governor, and IMF and multilateral organizations, bring their policies right. President Obasanjo quoting him said that Soludo was right, rejecting everything. Now he called him and said, "Don't reject what they say. I said, but don't implement it." I don't know what I get me.
Right. So that's a bit more diplomatic.
Thank you very much. So you might write, okay, I agree, but you know what economic situation that is peculiar to your country that will work in the best interest of your country. You apply that one that suits your peculiar situation, the country and its development. Not what multilateral organizations say in most times. No.
The thing is that, as they say, he who pays the piper dictates the music. Most times, Nigeria goes cap in hand to these institutions to seek loans and so on and so forth. And sometimes you hear them telling you review your VAT from maybe 5% to 7.5, review from 7.5 to 10%, and so on and so forth. But I want us to switch to a different discussion, everyone. We're looking at the situation now in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi. In less than 48 hours, there will be so much of action. What I mean by that is elections will be on in all three states. But we have also seen so much of drama, so much of chaos and violence accompanying this process. So it's only ideal that we get to have this conversation, to have an insight into what is happening on the ground in all three states, and also to see that as a basis to discuss the role of INEC and other key stakeholders, including political parties and their respective candidates. They say justice begins from, they say charity begins at home and justice from the next door. Let's talk about Kogi for a minute. But then we'll have this conversation right after this short break. Do stay with us, everyone.